we saw last week the market reaction in some of the real estate investment trusts, particularly the shopping centres, as you saw the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine news break. And I wonder whether that is the right trade. I was weighing up an interesting report over the weekend which had evidence from Citigroup and BMO Capital that retailers in recent years that have closed stores have actually continued to shrink, and some of them have just disappeared altogether. So the shrinking to grow strategy doesn't necessarily work for retail. And we've got a guest coming up later on from Pandora, and I think the message is very similar from them, that where they've closed some of the physical presence, they've seen it even in the online stores. It's not been positive. So what do you make of that down the track when we progress towards this vaccine story, that we might see a bounce back in some of these shopping centres and on the high street?
I mean, everyone likes good news. And of course, the stock market likes the journey rather than the arrival. So the prospect of a vaccine is very attractive to the stock market. The thing for retailers, it is not just about closing stores, it's about looking at the whole proposition. So a lot of retailers in the UK have really been participating in a race to the bottom. They've been discounting for years and years and years in the hope of winning more customers. And essentially they've been slicing through their margins and their profitability, which has then reduced their ability to reinvest in their own businesses and move it comprehensively to a multi-channel environment, which is what consumers want and was what they need to do. And that's the problem with just simply closing stores. You're reducing cost, but you're not actually revolutionizing your proposition. And that's what retailers need to look at. So yes, they will shrink, but at the same time as shrinking, they need to think about how they sell and what they sell. And yes, if they shrink and go for bigger stores that are more flagship-based stores, more lifestyle and experiential, that's fantastic. If they simply shrink an estate and have fewer stores and they're exactly the same, selling what they sold in the same way as previously, not so good. So it is about retailers ensuring they have longevity, and that is avoiding discounting where they can unnecessarily, simply to get to achieve more custom.
Diane, just to link some of the stories that we've been discussing together here, one of the big stories I saw last week being reported was that Westfield is taking legal action over a number of companies that are not paying their rent at the moment or are not paying what Westfield are expecting. What do you think as we come through this into next year? What do you think is going to happen to some of these big malls across the UK? Will they ultimately disappear and be repurposed, or do they get a second life if the retailers stick with their bricks and mortar proposition?
I mean, the repurposing of malls has been a big issue for the past couple of years, and people have been talking about it. There are all sorts of complexities with repurposing malls, partly because what do you do with them? I mean, there's a lot of space there, but actually, is it suitable for anything else? People talk about residential a lot, but if you repurpose a mall, most of the residential property would have no windows because it's all internal facing. So there's a lot of issues around repurposing malls. And actually, you know, as consumers want to shop in bricks and mortar. Yes, they love online for the convenience and the choice and the delivery. But actually, we're social beings. We like to interact. We like the experience. And that's been proven in the numbers. Yes, online has grown, but the majority of spend is still in store. Now, if retailers can hang on long enough, malls will survive. And, you know, there will be lots of malls that will survive. The ones that perhaps won't survive are the marginal ones that don't offer anything for retailers or consumers. They're difficult to get to, they're expensive to park in, they're not very attractive. And the stores they have are too small now to offer that experience that consumers want. Those are the malls that are the most vulnerable. The larger malls, the malls that have good car parking, are accessible, have great stores, they're likely to survive. Yes, we have this enormous hiatus at the moment, and retailers do have to grit their teeth and hang on if they can. But those malls will see a future. It's the intermediate and perhaps some of the less well-appointed smaller malls will struggle.